So during this interview process, I had an issue with my video camera. Looked fine on the screen. Okay, I'll admit I wasn't actually looking at myself. I was kind of looking at questions, trying to do a little eye contact. But it turned out that was severely blurred. So instead of putting you guys through that, I'm just going to put the text on the screen or something else more interesting than my blurry face. Hope you enjoy. Okay, let's get started. How long have you been creating 3D models?
So I have been creating models since 2017. I originally was going to do some other kind of artwork a long while back, and I kind of just fell into 3D modeling, and that's where it took off.
So how did you fall into 3D modeling?
So when I was in college, we were trying to figure out our careers, and one of the classes that we took was for intro to 3D modeling. And originally, I hated it. I absolutely hated 3D modeling, but as I got into it more, I ended up loving it, and that's what I do now for everything. I'm a 3D generalist. I do 3D modeling and printing and all kinds of things. So,
Oh, you make models not just for printing, but for games and other things as well?
oh yeah, everything. I've done stuff for my own video game. I've started going in that direction to make my own video game. I've done stuff for my job. I'm currently in forensics, so a lot of that is just 3D modeling for forensics, which is kind of cool. So, um, yeah, it's definitely a different step. Originally, I was going to go into video game development, and I also kind of landed into forensics too. It just came to me. So,
Now, normally when you think of 3D modeling, you think of video games or silly little toys that sit on someone's shelf until they're tired of them and throw them away. I never would have thought of a forensic career.
yeah, you're totally that's what I thought too originally when I first started doing that. So, yes, totally I agree with you. Yeah, you never know what happens. It just that company reached out to me and I was like, "All right, cool. Let's go for it." So,
How long does it usually take to make a 3D model?
it depends on the model. Some models, depending on how detailed it is, it can take me up to 40 hours, maybe even more. Um, if it's something simple maybe like a toy or like a little fidget thing, maybe 10 hours, maybe 2 hours. It just depends. So it all just is all from specifically just by standpoint of detail. So mostly just detail is what makes that factor, depending on how big or small it is.
Understood. Now, what's the preferred software that you use?
I use Maya. There's a lot of 3D modeling programs out there. A lot of people use Blender. I've heard people use ZBrush and other CAD programs. Specifically, I use Maya. So I've kind of ventured out, but not too much because I'm not really a Blender fan. And I'm sure people are gonna see this and be like, "Oh my gosh, she hates Blender." So
From my casual observation, I think that looking at what software people use, you can tell what they model most. Like, I use Fusion 360. I usually make functional parts and things for work. I'm not the guy to create rounded, organic objects. I find that Blender users are more creative and use like aesthetic models, while people who use software like Maya and other ones like that are more into 3D animated objects.
yeah, I agree with that too. I can't I cannot make organic things. I'm terrible at organic things. Um I struggled for a while to try to figure out certain organic things, especially making props for cosplays that are super organic. I was sitting there for hours in ZBrush or Maya trying to figure that out. So completely get it.
So, what are some of the challenges you face when making 3D models?
So, depending on what the model is, I have had a lot of complications with certain things. So, for example, when I started making mugs, like when I first started like 3D designing mugs, I would take a cylinder and kind of build off of that cylinder. I can't tell you how many times I have scrapped mugs like from modeling because I did not like the way it looked. And I think that's a huge challenge for me because like I see something and my friends are like, "Oh my gosh, it looks so good." And I'm like, "Nope, trash. Going in the trash."
I can understand that. You have a personal standard to meet.
Yeah. I think that's a huge like challenge is like kind of being your own worst enemy when you're modeling because a lot of the things that you produce like are so nice. Um but like you look at it in a different way because you are the artist. Another thing I have a problem with is the programs. Definitely the programs. Um, so if I'm modeling something, sometimes some programs just say, "I'm just not gonna work today," and they'll crash. So I've lost some really cool projects from just the program crashing, and that's why you save.
Save and save often. For people who don't know, this mug was designed by. Wow, I need to really work on my interviewing. I never properly introduced you, Sarah.
Hi, I'm Sara Calleja. Pleasure to meet you all. I am a 3D generalist.
That's a fancy description for she makes 3D models for everything, including the mug, which is super cool. It's obviously not meant for drinking, directly out of, but you can throw a 20-ounce bottle in here or toss in your Arizona iced tea cans or Monster energy drinks, and it's simply amazing. Now, you sell other models, correct? Like some other completed works?
I do. Yeah. I have a lot of 3D mugs that I do on my own, like on the side, like all kinds of soda bottle cozies and bottle holders hold like energy drinks and all kinds of things. That was like a huge thing that started like just as a side job, just for fun.
In that case, I will put up a link to, I'm assuming Etsy.
Yep, my Etsy. Yep.
Alright, we'll make a link at the bottom there then. So, what's your favorite model that you've made?
Oh gosh. Some of the models that I really liked making were some of the characters I did for my video game. I had a huge like selection of characters that I like was modeling out for a whole bunch of like scenarios. They're all kind of quirky and weird characters. One's got a TV for a head, so it's kind of neat. um and then another one that I really liked making in that video game was an asylum. I made a huge asylum with like all kinds of rooms and patient rooms and labs, and that was a challenge, but like the outcome was really cool.
Is that available right now? Can we see that?
Yeah, I can definitely show you some of the stuff for that. I have videos, but it's not available yet.
That's very cool stuff. Do you do custom work?
I do. I do a lot of custom work. I am always open for any kind of custom work, whether it's like a physical 3D print or just a model. I do all kinds of things.
What's the best way for people to get in touch with you?
You can get a hold of me through my website or through email at autorc.com, and I'm sure you'll put that in the link. There you go.
Perfect. That'll be in the description too then. What advice would you give someone who's considering learning how to do 3D modeling?
I would do a lot of research before you start. Definitely a lot of research. It's a lot of work, a lot of practice, and a lot of frustration. But in the end, it's definitely worth it. It is so worth it. You can do so many cool things with 3D modeling. And I definitely like encourage everybody to try at least once.
Words of wisdom right there. When I bought my first 3D printer, I was so excited to be able to print all of those items that I could download. Then my wife asked me to make something, and I realized I'm going to need to learn how to make things in order to make the most out of this printer.
Yeah, when I first started my 3D printing stuff too, I was like, crap, I did this wrong. I did the dimensions for this wrong. It's a lot of trial and error. Lots of trial and error.
So which printer do you have?
I have an FL Sun Super Racer right now. It's like a really, really tall printer, and it's super, super nice. I just upgraded it, so totally worth it.
Well, I believe that's all the questions I have. Thank you for taking the time to talk with me today. I really appreciate it.
I'm really thankful for, getting to do this interview with you, and I'm glad that we got to do something really amazing together with this. So thank you for your time too.